friends, welcome to the Rebookery channel. Today I'm going to share with you my last collection that I'm going to put in my Etsy shop this summer, and I'm so excited about this collection because they are mini binder junk journals, and I've been working on these for the past 3 weeks and just really love them because they're small and they have so much space for your scrapbooking, your journaling, your junking, your smash booking, anything that you wanted to do in these. Look for these to be in my shop. Go 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. I will start posting these in my shop. Let me tell you about some good stuff that I've got coming up in the next couple of months. I am going to be in a craft fair on August 6th. It's going to be here in Kansas City. It is a huge craft fair. It's going to be at the Nelson-Atkins Art Museum, which is a world-renowned art museum that we are lucky enough to have here in Kansas City, and this is going to be on the lawn of that art museum. It's a pretty big deal. Super excited that I got accepted, and I'm super excited that I'm gonna go sweat all day because August in Kansas City is extremely hot. If you live in this area, be sure to stop by. I'll link Strawberry Swing, the website. I'll link that down in the comments below. So with that craft fair, I need to start taking my inventory, and I'm going to have to start getting it ready for the craft fair. So for that reason, and the fact that school is going to be starting here pretty soon, I am going to close my Etsy shop Monday, July 17th. Etsy shop won't be open, and I'm going to probably keep it closed through the end of the summer just because I need to make sure I have enough stuff to take to my craft fair. School's starting, I'm a teacher. I'm gonna have 140 new babies that I need to get to know, and when I say babies, I mean 14-year-olds because I teach middle school. I need to kind of juggle my time. I'm really liking filming these videos, and so I think what I'm gonna do is keep trying to film my process videos for you guys, but then something has to give, and so I think I'm gonna put my Etsy shop on vacation. I opened up again, I would say late August. So once I list these, they will be in my shop for a few days, and then I'm going to close it. So Monday, July 17th, my shop will be closed. All of the stuff that's in my shop, I will be taking to my craft fair on August 6th. I have a whole new collection, not these, but a whole new collection of cookbooks that I will be having at my craft fair. So anyway, that's the upcoming stuff that I've got going on. So let me show you the last collection that I'm going to put in my Etsy shop this summer. So the first one is a small little photo album that I found in a thrift store, and it was in sad shape, and I felt kind of sorry for it. So I'm not big on photo albums, but I don't know, there was something about this one that I really was drawn to. The cool thing about this photo album, when I got it, there were only 3 pages in it. There were, and I'll go ahead and pull this out. There were 2 of these, and I think this is called Waterfall, but it's just overlapping little places there, like you can stick in. I think this was a 3 1/4 by 3 1/4, so you could stick 3 by 3 photos or cards in here. You could do journaling. You could add little journal cards, or like I said, your photos. So there are 10 on the front and 10 on the back. Now there was only one that needed some repair, and it was this one right here. So it was actually ripped out. So what I did was I just slipped in a little pocket and a couple of tags here, but all the rest of them, they are in their original condition, and I just switched out. I took the paper that was in them and I actually put in some scrapbook paper, and then I sewed trim or added some cute little cut down the side. So they're kind of fancy. All you would have to do would be to put a photo on, or slip a journal card in, or just pull the card out and add your own journaling. So there's the first page. The second one is very similar. There are 10 of these waterfall And then 10 on this side, same thing. I sewed some trim on some of them, just added an assortment of different scrap paper. And then the reason why I really like these is because this was thick cardstock or cardboard, and it had reinforced metal rings. So this isn't going anywhere. This is staying. So these were the original 2 that were in the book. I then added just some cards. The 3rd page that was in the book was the beginning page of this photo album. I couldn't find a year on it, but I kept it intact. And since it was kind of narrow, I stitched a flashcard to it so you could journal on this. I just added a few more cards, added some scrapbook paper cardstock that I stitched together. This one is kind of a fold out, and I added some seagrass wallpaper onto another piece of wallpaper. And then there's a few little pockets here and another flashcard. Now I didn't want to bulk this one up too much because it was already so bulky with those waterfall picture cards. So I didn't add a lot of pages to this because to me the thing for this album is that it's all about these 2 pages right here, these waterfall picture cards right here. So that's why I didn't bulk it up too much. So when you look at it, it's pretty bulky, but the bulk that I've added should this should be as thick as it gets unless you start adding extra papers. You should be okay with putting your photos in because I've already bulked up the edges, so your photo shouldn't add that much thickness to this. But anyway, so there is this little photo album. These guys are a little bit larger than the rest of them. These are some little cookbooks that they're not vintage. I want to say they're 1990s, and the reason why I say 1990s is because this one had an inscription on it that said 1995. And they were fruit themed, like they had blackberries all over them. So what I did was I just covered them with some vintage wrapping paper and some wallpaper, added some little embellishments, did the same thing on the back. So because these are cookbook themed, they just have a slight cookbook, I don't want to say theme because I don't want you to think this has to be all cookbook, but they have a slight cookbook edge to them. Let me do it that way. So there's some little recipe things that are related to the kitchen, but it does not have to be kitchen themed. So I set all 6 of these guys up the same. Like I said, these 2 are a little bit larger, and the last 4 I'm going to show you are just a little bit more narrow. So I'll walk you through this one and then I'll just fast forward through the rest. So in each one, you're going to get a pocket in the front. You'll get a pocket in the back. I scored some vintage labels. So I stuck 2 of those, they're really large. I stuck 2 of those at the back. And then this is one of my recipe cards that I just sewed some scrap paper to and some trim, so that could be a journaling card. I have the same type of journaling card at the front. And then I stuck an old index card at the front. Then in here you will have index pages, a large sheet of like a garden themed paper, and in the pocket I just stuck some little recipes and journaling cards. Then you'll have the original recipe pages that came from this book. I had enough that I was able to put them in all the books, and I really like these because they're nice and thick and they have a nice matte tooth to them, so they would take watercolor and colored pencil and glue really well. Then you'll have a pocket, a scrapbook paper that is sewn to one of those recipe card pages, and then I just tucked some paper inside. Fabric trim I sewed tried to get as many surfaces covered with fabric trim as possible. Then you'll have a cardstock page that folds out with a pocket. In each one of the cookbooks that I've done, I've put in some sort of a little pamphlet. It may be a little recipe pamphlet. Like, I think there's one that's on silverware. There's a little gift card and a number sticker, and then there will be handwritten recipe cards. You'll have a piece of paper, an original piece of paper from one of the older cookbooks. There's lots of wrapping paper. And a long time ago, I did a video on one of these cookbooks that I found. I went through how cool the recipes were because it had these little ladies' names in them. And so I was able to incorporate those into all of these books. So these will be back, because they're pretty fragile, they're backed to a sheet of wrapping paper. There will be some wallpaper. There's 2 envelopes in each book, and they are original to 2 of the books, but I had enough that I was able to distribute them through all 6 of these books. I either have a photocopy of some little old lady recipes. In the other one, I will have a actual recipe that was written out, an original recipe written by little old lady. Little coin pocket with some wallpaper tucked in. Each one has an original page from one of the cookbooks. Because this was like a cookbook scrapbook, it had a lot of these plastic page protectors, so I was able to put one in each of the books. Now these, in this book and the one with the little girl, or with the blueberries on it, these guys are the original size because they fit in these books. But in the other books, I had to actually take some off, and then I just stitched down to the side. But in them, you will scrapbook paper that's kind of cardstock weight, and then I sewed some trim at the top, put a flash card back behind it, so you can pull this out and add what you need to it. Some original recipe pages that are nice weight. A postcard. This is not an original vintage postcard, but it was a package of postcards that a photographer had taken some pictures of children in the 1930s, and so I stuck that in. Another recipe card pocket with some scraps that I sewed trim on. It's a fold out. A ditto page. I had just enough in one of these books that I was able to add a ditto page to each of these books. And if you don't know what a ditto machine is, go ask your grandparents. It was how we used to make copies a long time ago. Not me personally, but when I was in school, yes, we had dittos. More wallpaper. Here's the other pocket, and then in the other pocket you will have an original handwritten recipe. This one just happens to be on the back of an envelope, so that's actually a bonus there. I scored a bunch of typed out recipes on these nice big index cards, and so I put one of those in each of the books. Another fold out. The original index pages, more wallpaper, and then each one ends with an original cardstock paper that was in one of these books. So I pretty much took the books apart and then just distributed all of their contents throughout all of the books. And then the only thing that is different is just how they are decorated on the outside, and then just the types and colors of papers that are in the inside. These last two that I am going to show you are both vintage recipe books. They're actually the same version. It's called My Recipes. This one was an earlier version. I don't know the year because there weren't a lot of original pages. This one was a later version. These cookbooks are the ones where the pockets came, or the big envelopes came out of. So there were enough between the two that I was able to distribute them through all of the cookbooks. But these are an older cookbook, whereas the ones I just showed you were a little bit newer. Okay, so there you go. There are the 7 journals, mini binder junk journals that I'm going to put in my Etsy shop at 6 o'clock this evening, Central Standard Time. These 2 are vintage. This one are more probably 1990s-ish. I honestly think this was early 2000s, but still a thrift store find. These 2 are a little bit larger in size. These were 1990s, but they all have the same contents. And then the final one is this photo album that I found in a thrift store. I appreciate you guys spending time with me and watching as I flip through these. Remember, my shop will be closing this Sunday. And then if you are in the Kansas City area, stop by and see me August 6th at the Strawberry Swing Craft Fair on the lawn of the Nelson-Atkins Art Museum. Guys, thank you so much for all your love and support. I appreciate every single comment that you give me, every single thumbs up, and I hope you have a great rest of the day. Bye.